Something's been weird's been going on for like the last week and a half. Like I'll start the morning fine, and then about 6:30, my stomach will just go sour, and I'll get really, really nauseous. I can't tell if I need to stop drinking coffee or what. Those are fine
Could it
though.
be the caffeine?
I think so. I don't know. It's just, hmm. Okay.
So did you see the story about the woman caught on camera at her boutique, Abby, who defended the store from the would-be shoplifter? It's on WAFB.
No.
Basically, a woman came in and
Okay. Oof. Oh, I gotta get rid of this shirt. Swimming in it. That sucks. I like this shirt.
get it taken in.
You can get a shirt taken in? Is that worth it? I don't pay a lot for shirts.
What kind of shirts? No, it's not worth it then.
Okay.
You can just wait until you gain weight back.
Not happening.
You're
Kept out of.
supposed to, psychologist said you're supposed to get rid of it
Yeah.
so that you don't know that it's there.
Yeah. But I believe those people are paid off by the fashion industry.
Those people haven't yo-yoed 4 or 5 times like I have.
Well, yeah. The way it was told to me was if you don't get rid of your fat guy clothes, you're not committing to the weight loss. You have that as a crutch to fall back on.
Spoken like someone who hasn't had to spend a lot of money on getting new clothes.
Right. Like, well, can't I just pack it all up and put it in the attic? No, get rid of it. All right. I just don't have money to go out and buy all new stuff.
Every now and then you gotta have that shopping day. Just get a whole new wardrobe or
Well,
a big modification to it. It's rare though.
.608 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're off to a late start this morning. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake producing. It's Mornings with Brian Haldane. We are off and running. Got a busy Wednesday for you. Yes, we're going to be keeping an eye on the rain, Nicholas, as it were. Yes, we will have a close eye on that throughout the show this morning. How much do we have to worry about when it comes to flooding? How much are you getting that little that antsy feeling of bringing you back to May of this year or all the way back to 2016? Seeing more and more concerns out on the streets, more and more areas where, areas where you traditionally see flooding, looking like it's getting there. If this keeps up throughout the next couple days, yes, we will have a bit of a problem, but how big of a problem? Dr. Josh Eachus, WBR's chief meteorologist, is going to join us at 8:15 to talk about it. Also, full slate on the show today. Attorney Franz Borghardt is going to be in for Legally Served about 20 minutes from right now, a little less than 20 minutes from right now, to talk about, a little more than 20 minutes from right now, to talk about a couple different cases, one of which is going to be coming to trial very, very soon, about a potential killer's daughter looking for a little leniency for her old man. Let me covering that. I'm going to talk with Marc Hyden from R Street. Been a while since we've had Marc on. Hey, how much is the media just missing the point when it comes to vaccines? I can't wait to delve into this discussion. Don't want to spoil it too much. Marc Hyden coming up at 7:15. No Congressman Graves today. Normally we have Congressman Garrett Graves on Wednesday for D.C. Current. No Congressman Graves today. He is en route back to Louisiana right now. The congressman working late into the night in D.C., and he'll be flying back this morning during the show. Hopefully we can hook that up later on in the week before we close the week out. We're also going to talk with Scott Conant. Scott Conant is with the Food Network. You've seen him. He's a judge on Chopped all the time. He's got a new book out. We'll chat with him about that book. Plus, Governor John Bel Edwards had a press conference yesterday about Nicholas. We'll talk about that as well. And, in fact, that's probably where we should start. What are you starting to see when it comes to Nicholas? What are you starting to see when it comes to the rain that we got yesterday? Yesterday morning was rough going. I mean, there was a lot of rain came down yesterday, and then it just stayed steady throughout the day. Drive in this morning, also rain. Forecast for the day, also rain. You heard meteorologist Marissa Nuzzo just before we started the show this morning talking about the rain that's in the forecast. I mean, we're looking at what, a 90% chance of rain today? Today, 96% chance of rain. Tomorrow, 80% chance of rain. Friday, 80% chance of rain. Backs down to about a 60% chance of rain on Saturday. Are you starting to get those feelings? Are you starting to get those flashbacks? 2016 all over again. We'll dive into it throughout the morning. We're going to take a quick break, though. We're going to talk sports when we come back. LSU football back on the practice field. Ed Ogeron speaking to the media a little bit. We'll have some audio for you next. Before we take that break, though, got to tell you about the folks over at Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. If you do not have lunch plans just yet, maybe swing by. They're on Seagan, just north of Industrialplex. They're on Bluebonnet at Highland. Both locations of Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. You will get the same great ingredients. You will get the same great service. You will get the same great burger no matter how you like your burger. Run down their menu. They've got, more than a dozen to choose from. I'm a Double Diablo guy. It's so spicy, so good, and it pairs so well with sweet potato fries that you dip in honey. Oh, it's fantastic. But if you don't find what you're looking for on the menu, create your own. You can build your own burger over there. Looking to cut back on carbs? Maybe skip out on that fresh baked potato bun and go with iceberg lettuce. The ice burger. Maybe you don't want meat at all? Okay, that's fine. Weird, but okay. They've got the black bean burger. No matter what your taste is, Mooyah is here for you with the perfect burger, fries, and, oh, by the way, real ice cream milkshakes. Both locations. Seagan, just north of Industrialplex, and Bluebonnet at Highland for Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. Yeah, you're supposed to. It should be news to 04. Traffic fires off. Traffic runs 1 minute. Weather runs 1 minute. And we start off at 6:06. And we lost 2 minutes somewhere. I don't know where.
They didn't have a specific weather cut, so I kind of had me and Chuck just had to find one, and it's 2 minutes.
Okay. Morning, Renee. Morning, Van. Welcome in this morning. Oh, how long do I have?
About 2 minutes.
Van says since the rain is spread out over several days, maybe the flooding might not be so bad. I'm hoping that's a saving grace. That's actually on my list of things to ask Dr. Josh Eachus at 8:15. Gotcha. You got 16 and 17? LR, okay. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So, time to talk a little LSU football. Coach Ed Ogeron made it, officially official, I guess. John Emery out for the rest of the season, been ruled academically ineligible. Ogeron did not provide any specifics on what resulted in Emery being ruled ineligible. There are some asking how this could happen. Ogeron says a lack of communication, however, is not a problem.
I feel like us as players, we just got to execute the plays. Look.
Is that 16? Wow. I got the wrong cut listed in there. Tell you what, let's just move on from it. Let's see if 17 comes around. Freshman Jack Besh has been a bright spot for the offense so far. Freshman, he's from St. Thomas More, right down the road in Lafayette. Caught 5 passes in the first 2 games. Keyshawn Butte says he knew about Besh and knew he would have an impact on this team as a freshman.
Jack from Lafayette, I played against him before, so I knew him coming in would have been a big factor to this team, and it really has been. And he caught the most balls, I think, at the tight end on this season, and he's doing good. And I know that 9 times out of 10 when the ball, or 10 times out of 10 when the ball get thrown to him, he's going to catch it.
He really has been a bright spot. Besh has been a super bright spot in that offense. I wouldn't say sputtering, but definitely not off to the pace that we were expecting, right? We as fans were expecting. Definitely not off to the pace that all offseason long, all we heard was, want to recreate 2019. Well, this has been something I was worried about going into the season was, you know when you make a copy of a copy, it's not quite as bright as the original copy? Like Multiplicity. Remember Multiplicity with Michael Keaton? Number 4. We don't want number 4 out there. The copy of the copy. That's not what we want. But nonetheless, it's still very early on in the year. LSU will be hosting Central Michigan this Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Is your start time. You will find the game on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Kickoff is for 6:30, so pregame will begin at 1:30 here at Guarantee Media. They'll kick it over to the network at 4:30. And then, like I said, kickoff at 6:30. Hey, we have a start time on LSU versus Mississippi State, which is the following week. I believe that's going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff. LSU at Mississippi State in Starkville. So gross. That means basically pregame starts at dawn, right? All right. We got to take a quick break here. We're going to check the Fox Business Report. When we come back, Senator Bill Cassidy is digging in his heels and sounding off on ivermectin of all things. I know. I don't know where to go with this, but we've got audio for you, and it's coming up next. Right after we check the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. Hey, come on up! I'm spitting on bugs.
Great movie.
Such an underrated movie.
Underappreciated and underrated.
Multiplicity.
Michael Keaton,
Andy McDowell. Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy's really good in that. Oh, it's just this damn watch. Basically, he's an overworked, undervalued father. And Michael Keaton is. So he clones himself just to get some free time. And then he finds that even with a clone, he still can't get it all done. So he clones himself again. And then they decide to make a clone of a clone. And that's where is that? No. There's a spot that plays after. This will end at 6:21 and 30 seconds.
That's what I thought, but you said like that's the Fox Sports.
Yes, this is at our heart. This is an advertising thing. I mean, we're gonna clear the spots. Same thing with Fox with Your Money Now at 6:50 runs to 6:52.
So we're doing cuts 13, 14, and 15 for this coming segment.
Yep. Eric says plus the dry air will help. When's that getting here?
Can it be dry air during rain?
Mm-hmm. Morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Really? I've got a list somewhere. Yeah.
Still having the clearance.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. What do you mean if I didn't block you on Facebook, I would see? I didn't block you on Facebook. 624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So, yeah, interesting story yesterday. Senator Bill Cassidy taking a staunch approach to those who, for whatever reason, are shunning COVID-19 approved vaccines in favor of ivermectin. Ivermectin, at its heart, is an anti-parasitic drug. Cassidy coming out taking a stance against it.
Ivermectin is not at all approved for the treatment of COVID and its complications. So it's much better to take the FDA-approved vaccine.
Cassidy says, if anything, there are far lower hospitalizations and deaths for those who have been vaccinated versus the number of deaths for those hospitalized with the coronavirus and who had relied on ivermectin. Cassidy says it's hard to understand why someone would choose ivermectin as their choice to battle the coronavirus.
Well, one, the vaccine is now officially approved, and two, ivermectin is not at all approved for the treatment of COVID and its complications.
And that part right there, I don't understand either. If you want to say that, the process was rushed for the vaccines, that's fine, but you're opting for something else that's also unapproved. And not even like emergency use approved. Like, this is just off the charts. I don't do the experimental stuff a whole lot. I ask my doctor. That's all I do. Cassidy says, unlike the COVID-19 vaccines that have saved lives, he's fully aware of the outcome of using ivermectin to battle this virus.
I have personal experience with people who refused vaccine, who took ivermectin, and who died. I
don't want to walk down that path, though. That's anecdotal. That That's not a fair path to walk. Because even if it is bad, even if it is experimental, even if it is whatever, you don't want to tell an anecdotal story and pass it off as, because you're told that the opposite is true there. Someone's going to come right back and say, well, I know someone who took ivermectin. They came out just fine. The two going head to head like that, there's no need for it. There's no need to even enter the discussion about it. So, weird though that it's coming up now, right? Like, I thought that whole wave had passed. We keep coming up with new and inventive ways to avoid the approved treatments. Anyway, COVID-19 still very, very much hanging around. COVID-19 still proving to be an issue. Although it is worth noting that, and I'm trying to get my screen to refresh here, it is worth noting that the number of folks in the hospital in Louisiana with COVID-19 has dropped significantly. And I mean really like by half over the course of the last month. We peaked out at 3,022 in the hospital a month ago. That number, if I can get my screen to pop back up again, that number is now down to, pop up please, 1,612. 1,612 are in the hospital right now with COVID-19. The number on ventilators is 297. That was above 400 a couple weeks ago as well. The number of deaths still at a very, very high clip right now, 121. 2,200 new cases were reported just yesterday. But as we're seeing in Louisiana, it looks like every single surge we've seen nationwide, Louisiana's been ahead of the surge. Like, we're getting it before everybody else, but we're also getting rid of it before everybody else. So when it comes to this fourth surge, and you'll probably hear a lot more in news at the top of the next hour about the latest surge because of the Delta variant, it's looking more and more like Louisiana's on the back end of that surge as the rest of the nation continues to rise. That being said, the metrics that are given for tracking how high the risk is, every parish in the state is still at the highest level of risk. Although it's getting more and more difficult to look at that map every single day for the last 19 months and seeing the exact same thing no matter what. Cases go up, cases go down, we're at the highest risk. Hospitalizations go up, hospitalizations go down, we're at the highest risk. It's tracking COVID-19 has been the phrase I've been using is we're running a marathon at a sprinter's pace, and nobody can keep that up. All right, we're going to have CBS News coming your way in just a second. We're going to have our local news, traffic, and weather coming your way right after that. After news, attorney Franz Borghardt is going to be in for Legally Served. Got a couple of different cases to talk about. The first of which, the headline reads, daughter of slain Bruley teacher seeks leniency for accused father. Quote, I will always love him. We're going to dive into that. It's going to get a little fuzzy. There's a lot of gray area here. But that's not till after news. Before news, do need to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. Got another great weekend in store, we hope, of tailgating, weather permitting, right? Well, whether it's sunny outside or not, Mathern's has got you covered. Swing by to stock up on your tailgating items. Game day comes around. You don't want to haul out all the tailgating equipment. You want to bounce from tailgate to tailgate, no problem. Stop in for some to-go. I got some great boneless wings last weekend. They could set you up with all the tailgating stuff that you need. Craft beer, top-notch. Fantastic selection of craft beers over at Mathern's Market. This is on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. They've also got a location downtown. And, oh, by the way, they're here every other day of the week as well, not just for game day. Download the Mathern's app and get your grocery shopping done without ever getting out of your car. You can get your grocery shopping done before you leave work, pull in the parking lot on your way home, they'll bring it out to you. Boom, it's that simple. Both locations of Mathern's. The app is good for both of them. Downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, right across the street from Tiger Stadium for Mathern's. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll check news, we'll check traffic, we'll check weather. That weather forecast. Whew. What do we need to know about Nicholas? Well, we'll continue with that conversation as the show wears on. When we come back from our news break, though, attorney Franz Borghardt is going to be in for Legally Served. You're listening to Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3.
This is one of the shows that I go right into Legally Served help.
Yes. Katie says, so the curves of the surges in each state are the same regardless of our mask mandate? I don't know. I'm pretty sure they spike harder where they don't have a mask mandate.
Wear the mask, Katie. Wear
But
the mask.
I will tell you this, we seem to be getting out of it quicker.
Because we're wearing the mask.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just going to stick to the things I know.
I know.
I am
Deferring to experts is something that people don't do anymore.
the law. Judge Dredd,
I know.
the new one, not.
No, the old one.
Actually, I like both of them. They're both Judge Dredd movies are good in their own ways.
3 miles an hour.
Is that slow? How fast did I move?
8.
So the concern is the slow dumping and dumping and dumping.
Yeah, but we got like a 5-hour chunk yesterday where nothing happened. I mean, that like allows everything that's on the ground to. The problem comes when it's not about what's on the ground anymore; it's about what's in the ground. The problem comes with saturation, the flash flooding problem comes with drainage problems.
Whew.
Talking to a buddy yesterday who took a look at the latest COVID numbers, and they're like, you saw what happened with the hospitalized people with vaccines? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's down to 88%. 88% are now unvaccinated in the hospital. That number was 91. Clearly the vaccine's not working. Bro.
That's tricky
Jesus
for
Christ.
some people. Hashtag Common Core. I swabbed myself on Saturday.
Gross.
Yeah, it was nasty. Walgreens has a self rapid fire.
Mm-hmm.
It was unpleasant.
I'm not doing that. Somebody else got to.
So I was under the weather. I wasn't feeling good. Everything's a symptom, right?
Yes.
So I had been debating about going to the game or not, and I wanted to have the test, and I tested negative.
Hey, congrats.
No, I did it in my living room.
Remember early doors, like whether it was CVS or Walgreens, sometimes you could like drive to their window and then they'd swab you.
Well, now you can buy whole kits to bring home and do it again tomorrow if you want. Like,
Yeah,
you buy like a
kit's
10-pack.
The kit.
Oh, you too?
You get 2 in the 10.
Okay. Bruh. I'm like legit sad about Norm Macdonald. Like I don't normally care when celebrities pass or whatever. Like it just if it's somebody I don't know, then I'm not going to act like I knew them or they were a loved one or whatever. But I don't know. Norm Macdonald, man.
Was he? We'd call him a B-list comedian, or
I don't know, man. Well,
that's tough to say, right?
yeah, because he was brilliant. I mean, he was like if all the rest of the comedians look up to somebody, then I'm going to respect them at that level too. You know? Mm-hmm.
It's days like this where it's going to be difficult to motivate myself to drive from my office to the Rotary meeting. That's a drive.
I'm going.
That's a drive. From downtown all the way to Drusilla and then back. Oh, yeah.
See,
Shout out to Fisher turning big 6 today.
Bro, happy birthday, Fisher.
God bless him. I said, we can go to whatever restaurant you want to go to for dinner tonight. Pick a restaurant. And he goes, I don't want to say it out loud. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, think bigger. And I'm like, think bigger. And he goes, curbside? And I'm like, dude, we have curbside like every week. And he goes, but I like it. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I was like, what about like a steak? And he goes, I can get that at Red Robin. I was like, do you want a birthday cake? And he goes, I know, I want 2 shakes. I'm like, okay, dude. That I'm like, okay.
Respect. Always respect the ice cream game.
Cake or ice cream, man. You got to pick one or the other, or sometimes both.
Did you by any chance catch the show Friday when Rocco was on for Foodie Friday?
I heard about it.
Oh, my God. It was so good.
What did you eat?
Meatball po' boy. My weigh-in did not go to plan. I was still
but
down.
the meatballs are good enough to where you could just eat the meatballs.
I know, but he's making a whole friggin' po' boy. There's no way I'm not, you know? I went over to weigh in, and Vicky's like, you ate the whole thing? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring you one and see if you can walk away.
You don't know where I've been.
You don't know what I've seen. Don't judge me. .640, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome in attorney Franz Borghardt for Legally Served. Franz,
Good morning, fellas.
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty darn good, man.
That's good.
If you're listening out in Cyber World on YouTube, or if you're listening on Talk 107.3 Radio, good morning. Man, we got some stuff happening locally, nationally, in the legal world, whether it's R. Kelly, whether it's...
Wait, R. Kelly's back in the news? I don't even know about this.
Every day it's just getting a little bit
Dude,
easier to convict him.
If you'll pardon the pun, I'm hip deep in flood coverage. You get, hey, you know,
Hip deep?
get it?
I saw what you did there.
Yeah, all right.
We got old girl from Silicon Valley being prosecuted Thananos, what's her name, for the fraud where she was making a healthcare device that was supposed to be able to test blood.
Really?
Oh, yeah, dude. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Anyways, and then we've got some local stuff going on. So
Yeah, we do. In fact, this is a 10-year-old story at this point.
it's still fresh.
No, I know, because it's coming to trial real soon.
Yeah.
A 2011 slaying of a teacher from Bruley is going to be coming to trial very soon. The teenage daughter of Baton Rouge man accused in the 2011 slaying and dismembering of his wife, Bruley High School teacher Sylvian Fink Lozada, says she misses her father and is asking a judge for leniency for him. Quote, I love him with all my heart, and I will always love him, Angelina Lozada wrote in a letter to State District Judge Tiffany Foxworth Roberts, who was presiding over Oscar Lozada's second-degree murder case. She was 4
Right.
when this happened.
Right.
And after and we're going to include the word allegedly everywhere, right? Because
Allegedly.
Still not, I mean, it's still not.
Oh, I got some coffee mugs coming
Oh,
that say allegedly.
I like it.
Christmas come early here.
Beautiful. So she was 4 when this happened, and when the father allegedly killed her mother and then fled with her to his home country of Venezuela.
Right.
Venezuela with
It's a
no
big thing.
extradition
It
back
was a
to the
big thing.
U.S.
Yeah.
He was arrested 3 years ago in Mexico and sent back to the U.S.
Extradited, yeah.
Or extradited, yeah, same thing. Sent back.
Yeah.
Oh, UPS'd, overnighted, whatever. So now his trial's coming up.
So I get asked every day, in some way, shape, or form, who gets to make decisions on these kind of cases?
Right.
Is it the victims? Is it the DA's office? And the answer is always the same. DA's office is driving the bus.
Right.
But they give respect and deference to victims. They talk to them. They make them a part of the process. What happens, though, when your victim is the daughter of the deceased
Yes.
victim and the defendant? What
Yes.
happens there? And then what kind of messed up, misfit toy box are we dealing with this young lady who was essentially kidnapped or whisked away to a foreign country by her father? Is there some Stockholm syndrome going on there? Is there, or is this just
It's
I
her
love my
father.
father?
I mean-
I just love my father who
Right.
murdered my mother.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And this is where it gets sticky, and this is where, why would you give deference to the victim's
Well, I
family?
think-
Because it gets emotional and not, it gets away from, it gets messy.
We have an outstanding prosecutor, Dana Cummings, handling
Yes.
the case, the DA's office. And I think their position has been, we regret that she's in this position. We wish this position on nobody. It must be a really tough, difficult position to be in for that little girl, who's now not a little girl, so to speak. That being said, her sending letters to the judge is entirely inappropriate. Now,
Really?
she shouldn't be sending ex parte letters to the judge on behalf of her father. And by the way, that doesn't really change anything, really. What?
Wait, why not?
Because it's an improper communication with the judge. We haven't had the trial yet. What do you mean? What he's
Okay.
asking for mercy or leniency about at this point?
Okay, yeah. That should wait till sentencing?
Well, if he gets convicted, he's going away for life.
Right.
LIFE
Yeah.
or LIF, depending on how you spell things. Wait, that's fifth. FIF. So the DA's office is saying, "Hey, we're sorry you're in this position. Nobody would want to be in that position. But you know what? We're gonna do what's in the best interest of the state of Louisiana, the citizens in this matter." So yeah, the DA's office is the one driving the bus, making those decisions.
Right.
However, normally, well, let's take this familial relationship out of the equation. Let's say you had a capital case where the DA's office is trying to decide whether or not to pursue the death penalty or not. And they're thinking about pursuing the death penalty. And the victims, who are not related to the defendant in this hypothetical, say, you know what? We love our deceased one, that family member, but we're patently against the death penalty, and we'd rather you convict this dude and he rot in jail for the rest of his life.
Okay.
Well, that's going to be given some deference, right?
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is. Yes, it is. But
Slightly
should it?
different. Slightly
I'm
different.
not. Let me walk down this path of I don't want to know what is. I want to know what should be here.
Well, and the issue in this case is there's clearly a conflict for this victim.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the only parent she's got left.
Right. Who could be going to Angola forever
Right.
and dying in a pine box one day
Right.
in Angola. Now, it's not like leniency means. Hey, slap you on the butt. Sorry you had to go through all this. You can go now. Generally, in murder cases, leniency is a big number instead of life.
Okay, let's walk down that path when we come back, because this is not a death penalty case.
No, it's a life case.
Right. So that's where we're going to pick it up when we come back. We do have to take a quick break. We will check traffic. We will check Your Money Now, and then Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt. We'll continue next, right here on Talk 107.3. Hey, once you've faded it out, you can get rid of it. You don't have to let the whole thing play. It's
That's the thing. It wouldn't let me click it. There was no
interesting.
run out. So I was like, okay, let's see if it's still on there, and it was. And
Well, you just turn the pot all the way down and off.
yeah, I'll do that next time. That was just a weird circumstance.
No worries.
It's Your Money Now 50, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do with that little girl, though? Like, do you just tell her, hey, we want to get you some services? You're not objective in this situation?
You're not objective in this
Right.
situation. So I don't. Like,
Let's
I legit
not lose-
don't know what to
let's
do, though.
Let's not lose sight of what this guy is accused of alleged, well, it's not
Murdering
alleged-
and dismembering.
murdering and dismembering.
Not just murdering.
And, look, I have been accused of being a softie sometimes.
What?
I'm okay with you putting away somebody who's convicted for murdering and dismembering.
I find it weird that if a daughter wants to reach out, that's
Well, it's
deemed
not
inappropriate.
It's not appropriate now. In the sentencing phase, she absolutely, as a victim, gets the right to address the court.
Because right now it's a matter of
It's guilt.
What am I being lenient
Well,
for? Unless he's
here's
guilty.
the thing.
Unless he's guilty, what am I being lenient
She
about?
has no part in the guilt phase.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because that's the state bears the burden. They have to meet that burden. They gladly accept that burden.
Is it inappropriate for her to reach out, or is it inappropriate for the judge to even read it? Because
I think she shouldn't have reached out to the judge, and the judge probably didn't read it. Generally, your law clerk will screen that because you're not supposed to read that. But
I mean-
Judge Foxworth is professional.
Yeah,
She can handle
but, like-
getting a letter.
I don't know. It's a 14-year-old girl. It's your dad. Inappropriate who got
look,
us. I don't care.
Look,
like,
when I'm judge, things are going to be a lot different
holy
around here.
crap, we're early now. All right,
You just
I'll
totally let me-
fill.
Just totally let me gloss over that. When
Say
I'm
it again.
When I'm judge, things are going to be a lot different around here.
I was ignoring it.
I get one term. One term.
Still have BR mattress.
Yeah, but I'm not going to have time to get it in here.
Look, when I'm attorney general, things are going to be a lot different around here.
Campaign starts when?
I'm just drinking my woman's hospital coffee here.
Wow, that's a long-ass traffic.
New Sopranos. Do you need to see that in the movie theater, or are you going to see that in your home?
I'm working on something.
Okay. I like the way that sounded. There are certain movies I'm content watching in my home. And in fact, we'll pay the premium to watch in my home. And then there are certain movies.
So this is one that I want to watch in my home because I want to be the only person in the room.
Oh, so the kids will be.
Well, it's The Sopranos. My kids aren't watching The Sopranos.
Dude, I disagree. Little man needs to learn early. The principles laid down in The Sopranos are life lessons for your son.
This is
Little James.
Dickie Moltisanti here. We're
Does
talking about.
does
not-
James have a nickname yet?
He's got about 7 nicknames, none
Okay.
of which can be repeated on the radio.
Damien. By the way, his year picture this year.
Oh, I know. He's actually smiling. It's crazy.
One day, that little boy is going to get married, and at his wedding, you're going to have that picture.
Oh, the rehearsal. I don't know. There's no more room in the rehearsal dinner slideshow yet. It's easy. We're done. WBR. Hey, kill my mic for a second. They do need to know the difference between Broadmoor and Sherwood, though. You ever stand up in court and just say, Your Honor, my client's guilty?
I've told judges they're wrong before in court.
About your client's guilt?
Nutting up, yeah.
Say, Your Honor,
It didn't play out well.
My client totally effing did it. You ever do that?
I've wanted to look at the jury before and say, I got to tell you guys, that opening statement that prosecutor just said sounds pretty good. I mean, I'm probably screwed, aren't I?
I'm just saying, bite the hand that feeds you.
Well, there's a rhetoric way of addressing that, though. There's been ways of me saying that I have done the routine of I guess we don't even need a trial. Open and shut.
So passive-aggressive.
Me? No.
The hell were we talking about?
Life.
Yeah.
By the way, life in Louisiana is life.
Say again?
Life in Louisiana is life for now.
652, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt, rolling right along.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Let's pick it right back up where we left off. We're talking about this is not a death penalty case.
No.
Although when you read murder and dismemberment, it tends to get a little more sensational.
Heinous crime.
Yes.
So, okay. So just there are certain legal requirements for a case to be a quote-unquote death penalty or capital case. But in addition to the legal requirements, a lot goes into that decision by the DA's office.
Yes.
And part of that decision is sometimes having the conversation with the victim's family. But remember, a non-capital murder, like second-degree or first-degree murder, if it's non-capital, first-degree murder carries life without parole. Second-degree murder carries life without parole.
Right.
That means life in Louisiana. That means you go into Angola and you die residing in Angola.
Right.
It's do not pass go, do not collect $200. Life means life in Louisiana.
Yes.
For now. Which
What do
means
you
the
mean for now?
legislature could change that at some point.
Yeah.
But candidly, I don't see the legislature doing that.
Okay. The district attorney will listen to the victim's family when they're looking for leniency. And Eric makes
what's leniency in this case, though?
Okay, you tell me. The daughter's looking for leniency. What is leniency
So
here?
leniency to me as a defense attorney is a number and not life. And that number might be a sizable number, but at least gives them an out date.
Okay.
It gives them a possibility of getting out of jail one day.
Okay.
So to me, mercy, leniency is a number less than life.
Fine.
But I just don't see that happening.
That's fine. That's fine. But if you can listen to the victim's family when it comes to leniency, can you listen to the victim's family when they say, I want him drawn and quartered? Can you listen to the victim's family if they want something that much harsher?
Well, it comes full circle. They get deference, they get a voice, but ultimately who's driving the bus? The prosecutor is.
Right.
And look, as a former prosecutor, I will tell you, sometimes you got to have difficult conversations with victims. Sometimes you got to say, look, I believe this person did it, but I don't know that I can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Or I believe this person did it, but he's not going to go to jail for the rest of his life, and maybe we need to cut a deal. So, sometimes you have to say, I believe this person did it, and I think this person needs to go to jail for the rest of his life, and I'm sorry that that's your father, but he also murdered and dismembered
Your mother. Right.
There's a lot of difficult conversations that come with that job. You know, this is an unfortunate situation on a lot of levels because nobody envies that little girl or that girl, that victim. So, yeah, but I mean, Eric makes a good point. You know, where do you draw that line in the sand?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Eric says on YouTube, he says, if you allow the family to go light, you should let the family in another case that wants death to be pursued. And that's where Eric's on the same page as me here. That's where I'm getting to with this whole conversation is if this can be on the table, if requesting some level of leniency can be on the table, why doesn't it go the other way?
Well,
why doesn't it go all full medieval on it?
So it does within the confines of the law. Like if a victim goes in and says, District Attorney Moore, I want you to murder this person. Eye for an eye. I'm Old Testament. Screw the New Testament. I'm Old Testament. Well, Hiller Moore is going to say, well, that's not how the law works. I don't get to kill this defendant eye for eye.
But you do get to seek the death penalty.
Unless I seek the death penalty.
Right. Now, let's play 4D chess here. It's harder to convict somebody in a death penalty case, is it not?
It's much more expensive. It takes a lot more time. Some victims don't want to go through 20 years of litigation. There is something to be talked about of the reality is a death penalty case doesn't resolve itself in 2 to 3 years. You're talking decades.
Right.
Some people want to move on with their freaking lives.
Clearly, this daughter wants leniency here, so why wouldn't that?
Well,
Why
again,
would you play that card as like a reverse card in Uno?
well, so sometimes the death penalty is used as leverage.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can seek the death penalty defendant, or you can step up and take responsibility and take a life sentence and live in Angola for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not as simple as ones and zeros. This is a life case. I have the utmost confidence in Assistant District Attorney Dana Cummings. She's a very formidable prosecutor. I've danced with her before in a serial killer case. She's good, but she's also reasonable. And if there is a quote unquote leniency or reasonable resolution here, that will be talked about. But I don't see it. You know. I don't know.
At the end of the day, and if this is, I'm not the legal expert in this segment. That would be you. But at the end of the day,
sometimes you act like you are.
At the end of the day, I gotta wonder how much you take the advice of a teenage girl.
Well, I think you're respectful, but you don't.
Correct.
I think you're respectful. It's like when you're listening to somebody and they just need to be listened to, and you're really like, you've got a nail in your head. That's why it hurts so much. You got a nail in your head.
Why do you keep focusing on the nail?
Why are you trying to fix me? So, anyways,
there's a nail in your head.
What else do we want to talk about? We got some time.
We got 2 minutes left. I don't know if we have enough time to get into LSU. And
so what baffles me about LSU is, and I'm not trying to hate on LSU. Sometimes I hate on LSU. I went to LSU a lot. Running out of wristbands.
Yeah.
For the football game.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
I don't know.
You got one freaking job to do.
I know.
You make a big deal about this is the criteria for you coming into this private event.
Yeah.
You got to go to the station. You got to get the wristband, but then you run out of wristbands. What happened when they ran out of wristbands?
They knew how many tickets were sold. I don't know. That part baffles me as well. And not like at the last minute. Not like with the last 50 people to get through the door. They ran out of like 4 hours before kickoff. I know.
You want to talk about Go Rouge? We got Go Rouge coming up this Friday.
I do want to talk about Go Rouge because there's not enough time to fully break down the wristband topic or the vaccine topic.
Baton Rouge Symphony is going to be on. Breed, the Main Street Market. We're talking about having Vineeth on to talk about broadband.
Head Vineeth on in a minute.
Broadband. And then we may have All-Star Catering on and talk about, a lot of catering companies and restaurants are helping out during Hurricane Ida relief. Mm-hmm. We don't really celebrate those guys a lot. And they're okay with that because they're not doing it for the credit. But
sure,
I have a show that we can celebrate those people. So we're talking to Brian from All-Star Catering, getting him on here to have some food and talk about some of the work he's doing for relief.
That'll be Saturday at noon on air or anytime on demand?
Well, as you know, we record Fridays.
We do record
on
Fridays.
the Go Rouge YouTube live.
Correct.
And then on air on Talk 107.3 Saturday at noon.
Yes, I'm trying to promote to the radio audience.
Unless something bumps us.
What do you mean?
Is there anything bumping us this weekend?
Not right now, not unless we flood.
Yeah.
I know. Then it's really off the rails. He is attorney Franz Borghardt. We always appreciate the time, brother.
All right, buddy.
We got CBS World News Roundup coming your way right now.
So, this weekend, I'm going to formulate a plan to record some commercials.
Oh, good.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Some of them will be shameless Borghardt law firm ones.
That's fine.
But might as well use them. Maybe I'll just share thoughts on some of them.
That's not how commercials work.
This is a legal 30 second by Franz Borghardt, where I share thoughts on something, like a legal minute.
You should do that.
That could be a commercial.
Sure. Presented by
Borghardt law firm. Real Men Wear Pink.
Yeah.
Real Men Wear Pink. The reveal party is Thursday at Radio Bar. I'm going to send you.
What do you mean reveal party? That's been going on for months. The reveal party is when? Sorry, I was being rude.
Thursday, Radio Bar, 6 to 8. I'm going to send you an invite. I want to get you in the loop of that so you can meet these people.
Okay.
All right.
Later, bro. Ah, crap. I'll be coaching basketball. Sorry. No. That was last year. That round of daughters has moved on to high school. It's on to the fourth grader, and Rocco does not have a fourth grader.
It's Marc Hyden, right?
Yes.
How do you spell his last name? It's Hydin?
Hyden. First name spelled with a C. I think so. Yes. Yeah, interesting. He had an interesting op-ed. R Street is a think tank out of Washington D.C. that I got hooked up with a long time ago, and he is with R Street. He is their director of state government affairs. State government affairs. Oh, I finally figured out why when I plugged my phone in yesterday it wouldn't charge. The other end was unplugged.
That'll do it. Yep.
And when I moved over to, there was a second charger up here yesterday. When I moved over to the second charger, everything worked out fine. Let me go dump this out and get water. I'm going to have to blast out like immediately after the show. Meeting with sales this morning at 9.
Is it
Those
hurricane or tropical storm right now?
tropical storm. If it no, tropical depression now. Yeah, Good Morning America's got their it's the same friggin' footage right in front of my house. It's not that bad. It's fine. I still gotta get that Baton Rouge mattress in. I will do it before anything else. Norm. Where's Norm? There it is. Seriously? No, I'm not promoting a TikTok. Shut up. Love it. There they go again. Flooding fears for hard-hit New Orleans.
How do you spell Scott? Is it Conant?
Conant. C-O-N-A-N-T. I think it's pronounced Conant.
Makes more sense than what I said.
Conant.
Then you're gonna have BRPT.
Okay. .707 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Hey, thanks again to attorney Franz Borghardt for hopping on board for Legally Served, as he does every single Wednesday. Hard to believe that's a 10-year-old case at this point, but coming to trial very soon. Coming up this hour, Marc Hyden is with R Street, and he penned an op-ed. Who uses that word anymore? He has an op-ed where the headline reads, Gallup and others missed the point on vaccine mandates. I can't wait to dive into this with him. Marc is with R Street. R Street is a Washington, D.C. think tank. They're a free market, free enterprise think tank. And I love leaning on them when we get the chance. So that'll be in our next segment. No Congressman Graves today. Congressman Graves is en route from D.C. back home to Baton Rouge. So I believe he's actually in the air right now. We're going to reschedule with him later on in the week. Instead, we will have for you audio from Governor John Bell Edwards' press conference yesterday about what is now tropical depression Nicholas that is just sitting on top of us. It's moving at 3 miles an hour. I think that might even be a stretch. But that's coming your way at 7:35. Of course, we'll round the hour out with Outside In. Before we get to top stories and trending, which is how we lead the hour, got to tell you about Mitch Kimball and his team over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. There are 2 locations of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. I recommend either one of them. If you're in the Mid-City area, 4065 Florida Boulevard. 4065 Florida Boulevard. Or heck, if you're anywhere up and down Florida Boulevard, Broadmoor, Sherwood, all the way out to Denham Springs, whatever, it's worth the drive up Florida to go see Mitch and his team at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. 4065 Florida Boulevard. Test drive a mattress. Test drive a dozen. Find the one that's right for you. Getting a good night's sleep is unbelievably important to having a productive day. That starts with the right mattress. Cooling gel might be your thing. A hybrid mattress might be your thing. An adjustable base might be your jam. Mitch has got you taken care of at 4065 Florida Boulevard. Or if you're closer to Ascension Parish, if you're closer to Prairieville, at southeastern corner of the parish, 18181 Jefferson Highway. It's the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier, too. Smaller footprint, same great deals, same great service, same great free delivery if you mention you heard about it right here at either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. All right, let's get it. Top stories and trending. Looks like they're pushing back the opening of the FEMA Mobile Registration Intake Center. Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome said it's being pushed back to tomorrow. They were supposed to open a mobile registration intake center, which is a tool that plays a major role in FEMA and East Baton Rouge Parish's ongoing response and recovery mission supporting Hurricane Ida survivors. It's still going to be at the Goodwood branch of the library. It's just instead of today opening up, they're going to open up tomorrow.
The rain from Tropical Storm Nicholas started early, already causing problems in, well, the story says Broadmoor, but I got to tell you, it's Sherwood. It's Sherwood. There's already a little bit of street flooding in Baton Rouge. One of the hot spots, and we see it every time there's rain, is on Goodwood in between the Crystal McAuliffe Center and Flannery. If you're heading eastbound on Goodwood, you're going to run into some problems there. But what we're already seeing from Nicholas is those low-lying areas that back up quickly are already backing up quickly. Got a couple of city parish office closures because of Nicholas in Baton Rouge, all city parish buildings. The 19th JDC, East Baton Rouge Clerk of Court, and City Court are all closed today because of the storm. After a year of turmoil, Baton Rouge Police Narcotics Division is without officers as the agency works with federal authorities to rebuild a department that's been the focus of a corruption investigation since late 2020. This is the whole Ardwan deal. The division, as we once knew it, has been disbanded. Instead, about 20 law enforcement officers from street crimes and intelligence will fill the old office space that narcotics once did. The investigations are still going on. It's just not being called our narcotics unit anymore. Our news partners at WBRZ reporting all officers have been moved out of the narcotics division, and its head is retiring. Approximately 9 officers were in narcotics before corruption was brought to light. 2 of them resigned. A third was fired. Instead, a new unit will be created from officers assigned from the Street Crimes Division and the Intelligence Division, and will be organized based on a partnership with the DEA. A Baton Rouge local is going to be the first, big day today for Haley Arsenault. At just 10 years old, she was diagnosed with bone cancer. Today, she goes into space. She spent a year in St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis undergoing rigorous chemotherapy treatments and surgeries. Quote, I had surgery that was able to save my leg and ultimately my life, Arsenault said. Fast forward nearly 2 decades later, she's working her dream job at the same place she found hope as a child. Haley Arsenault will be the youngest American and first pediatric cancer survivor to go to space today. Among the first all-civilian crew without a professional astronaut aboard. Arsenault was selected by billionaire businessman Jarek Isaacman. The mission, called Inspiration 4, was pioneered by St. Jude Hospital and SpaceX to raise awareness and money for the hospital. They've got a goal of raising $200 million altogether. That's a look at your top stories. Here is a look at what's trending this morning. Sad news out of New York. Comedian Norm Macdonald, former SNL Weekend Update, SNL alum, Weekend Update anchor, writer, and performer. He passed away, 61 years old. Macdonald had been battling cancer for 9 years. Kept it private, though. Was never really quite as big as he was when he was on SNL, but very, very highly respected comedian, unbelievably funny guy. Sad day. Norm Macdonald passing yesterday from cancer at 61 years old. All right, we're due up for a break. 7:14, Talk 107.3 FM. We're actually a minute late for a break. So let's go ahead and take it now. When we come back, Marc Hyden from R Street hops on board next. You need his phone number.
Sorry?
You need his phone number. Kill my mic, please.
Hi, Talk 107.3. You ready for us? Wonderful. We'll be on air momentarily and we'll get you on. Thank you. Please hold. All set?
Okay.
Today we're going to have the RPT.
I'll do that in the next segment when I don't have a guest. 716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So, vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, vaccine proof of vaccination, these things are growing in frequency with which we see them. We saw what was attempted at Tiger Stadium over the weekend, though that turned out to be much ado about nothing. But we are seeing more and more frequently folks are going to be requiring vaccines to get from point A to point B, whether it be travel, to get into a place of business. But is the media missing the point, or polling companies missing the point when it comes to how that's being portrayed? Joining us now is Marc Hyden. He's the Director for State Governmental Affairs with R Street. Marc, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me back on.
Glad to have you back on here. You have an op-ed that I just could not get enough of and could not agree with more. The headline reads, Gallup and others missed the point on vaccine mandates. Let's start with this. What is the point on vaccine mandates?
Well, I guess that depends who you ask and what polling you look at. But the Gallup came out with this poll asking people how many would support businesses imposing vaccine mandates. So saying you'd have to show proof of vaccination to fly on an airplane or eat at a restaurant.
Right.
But the problem is they asked, would you support businesses doing this? But for some reason, those at Gallup and people online believe that was proof that Americans would support vaccine mandates from the government, and that's a completely different story.
So how should they be phrasing it?
Well, I think they should just be honest with how they phrased it. I mean, because what they're asking is, do you support businesses of their own volition requiring vaccines in order to patronize their business? And as someone who supports free markets, I mean, I'm fine with that, because if you like it, you can patronize that business. If you don't like it, you don't have to go there.
Right.
But when you switch it over and you start talking about vaccine mandates, then it's the government imposing this, using all the force within their arsenal.
Yes, if it's a business handling it, it's no different than an upscale restaurant requiring a jacket or a no shirt, no shoes, no service type of thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's a business decision. It's made by a private entity. And if you don't like it, you can go elsewhere. And, I will tell you, Brian, I normally wear shoes to restaurants and sometimes jackets.
One would hope. So when backing up from this, though, can Gallup be in a position to change the narrative?
I think so. I mean, Gallup is a massive polling firm, very well respected, and they do fantastic research. And I just think that whoever wrote the press release on this had some things mixed up. But if a falsehood, even if it's done by mistake, catches fire, it's easy for people to buy into that and believe that is what everyone else wants. And I think that can help drive public policy for the worse or for the better.
Let me reframe the narrative here as well, though. By framing it up to make it look, by taking the business out of the equation, don't you also take the business out of the line of fire for blame?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you make it a blanket mandate that comes from the government, it does take business out of the blame. And I should also take a step back. I'm vaccinated, and I think all Americans should do it. I don't feel comfortable forcing them to do so, however.
Same. Yeah, it seemed like the clear and easy choice for me as well. I have a problem pushing it down on someone else. And there are so many varied types of businesses out there that it doesn't feel like a vaccine would come into play every place you go. So why would you need a blanket thing for a million different types of businesses?
Right, and I don't know that it would work very well. So I've done extensive travel during the pandemic, 8 different countries, and I've been to countries that require vaccine proof in order to go inside a restaurant. Well, some restaurants impose those mandates. Others just say they take you on the honor system. They really don't care. So I don't think that's a very effective way of imposing these. Instead, let the restaurants, let the private entities make up their own mind, and they're going to enforce their rules with much more zeal, I would believe.
One would think so, yes, but also the logistics of enforcement, like putting this on a business that doesn't have the capability of enforcing it themselves, strains the business.
Oh, of course. I mean, these are added costs that are going to be tacked onto the business, opportunity costs. I'm sure it's going to limit their business, whether or not they would support some sort of mandate like this. It causes a host of different problems, and these are small businesses that, they're struggling already. The pandemic has been very tough on them, and this is just going to add another burden.
Going to your op-ed, you say, and I apologize, I'm going to read a full paragraph here. The question Gallup asked is whether respondents would support businesses requiring proof of vaccination, so this would evidently be done on private companies' own accord, but somehow that was lost. Gallup subsequently reported that their poll was evidence that a referendum to impose such vaccine mandates would pass, but referendums and private business policies were two very different things. How do you separate them? Because they're going to have to work hand in hand they're going to have to work hand in hand as more and more vaccine requirements come out, aren't they?
I mean, ostensibly, yes. I mean, my point is that Gallup just kind of missed the point on their own poll, at least whoever wrote the press release did. And people online as well have just taken this misconception and run with it. But yes, if there are blanket mandates, then private companies will have to work together. But a referendum is completely different than a private company making up their own mind. A referendum empowers the government to enforce it. And anytime you give the government more power, it's not going to be, they usually don't use it as well as private companies do, at least from this free marketeer's perspective.
Now, let's talk about the difference between a referendum and a perceived referendum. Because when you phrase things the way that Gallup did, when you phrase things this way, it makes it seem like everyone's on board, whether they're on board or not. Do we then start there as square one for moving forward with further mandates?
Well, I mean, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic, a democratic republic. So majority doesn't always rule, as you know. But when you look at some of the crosstabs, there's fierce opposition to even private businesses having this authority. I think it was between the low 50s and up to 60% support some sort of private vaccine mandate, depending on the industry. So you could take that as step one in looking at public policy, but I think you're going to find such stiff opposition that it'll be difficult to enforce, and I think there'll be problems in the rollout.
Yeah, there would be, and then we seem to be more and more at a point where we point fingers at each other and blame each other for everything as a society, government aside. And this seems like it would be one more area where we want to gloss people over something they may or may not be based off their answer to a question that has nothing to do with anything else. And where I go with that is it seems more and more that Republicans are blamed where there's a lack of vaccines, but it's getting to also simultaneously be the vaccine versus not vaccine is not a party question anymore.
Right. And, what I saw is commenters were immediately blaming Republicans for every possible problem here. But, I counter that with many Republicans support free markets. People who support free markets likely aren't going to care. They're at least going to support private businesses' freedom and authority to impose their own restrictions. They just may not impose blanket mandates from the government. So I don't know that you can blame Republicans for this. Now, Republicans do bear some blame. There are more skeptics for the vaccine among them, and we can deal with that at a separate time. But yeah, this pointing fingers and blaming people, blaming different parties, I don't support that. I'd like to see us all just come together and get through this pandemic.
Well, it can be some Republicans who are anti-vaccine, but that's not a Republican policy position.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
I mean, because we've got our own. Both of our senators from Louisiana are Republican. Senator John Kennedy and Senator Bill Cassidy. They're both very outwardly spoken pro-vaccine. So, how do you determine which Republicans to listen to on this?
I mean, I think this is a matter of listening to people on social media, which is a bad place to start. But we have a hyper-political world where you always want to blame the other party and make them out to be the bad guy. And I think that's part of what's wrong with our political system, that instead of working together, we're just constantly trying to drive a wedge between us and push us further apart.
Looking ahead, crystal ball in this for us over the next 12 months or so, or however much longer this pandemic lasts, how long will the free market be able to remain the free market when it comes to having their own choice on vaccinated clientele or non-vaccinated clientele?
I think that depends state by state. I think some more progressive states are going to impose mandates. The federal government has been going in that direction, but there's a lot of resistance from conservative states that are challenging President Biden, whether he has power via executive order to make any sort of vaccine mandates on the private companies. So I think time will tell, but I think it's going to be a patchwork, and we're going to see a lot of states move that direction, whereas the Louisianas and the Georgias and Floridas may try to stay on the more free market side.
What about just as Americans? Are we on board with that?
You know, I'd like to think that we believe in the 10th Amendment, that power is best left to the states, and that the free market can sort many of these things out. But I think, like anything else, there are a lot of divisions, and we'll see how that rolls out in time. My crystal ball is generally broken, so you can take that with a grain of salt.
About the same. And where we're at right now, half the people that read about it in a newspaper will say, oh, well, if that's where everybody else is going, I'm going there too. And then the other half are going to completely dig their heels in and say fake news.
You know, as someone who's a newspaper columnist, that sums up pretty much all of my responses. Either they absolutely love it, or I get called some horrible names followed by fake news.
No, not around here. Not around here. We're not going to call you horrible names or fake news. He is Marc Hyden with R Street. We always appreciate the time, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Bye. A lot of the future discussion is based off of how the discussion is had now, which is why I wanted to get Mark on here. Getting back to the beginning of his op-ed, he says, in a time when polling informs public policy more than ever, it's important to get it right, but too often polls can give the wrong impression, which seems to be the case with a recent poll on COVID-19 vaccine mandates. It's so true. It's so true. How often do you hear a news story? How often does a story lead national news where the phrasing of the question was wrong to begin with? You got the wrong answer because you asked the wrong question. Your output is only as good as your input. The results of the poll are only as good as the questioning within the poll. Quote, majorities of Americans now favor requiring people to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination to travel by airplane, stay in a hotel, attend events with large crowds, dine in a restaurant, and go to their office or work site, according to the respected polling firm Gallup. With the COVID-19 pandemic remaining doggedly persistent and faced with underwhelming vaccination rates, Americans are purportedly ready for more drastic changes. Quote, if it came to a national referendum, these vaccination proof requirements would win, Gallup's announcement read. But if you're not framing the question in the right way, or maybe you are, or maybe you're framing it in the way you want, you're asking the question you want the answer to. And that's where the whole fake news argument comes back in. Either way, we love leaning on R Street for their take, and we appreciate Mark's time. Hey, we got CBS News coming your way in just a little bit. After that, I don't want to get too far away from what is now tropical depression. Nicholas, gonna be another wet couple days in Baton Rouge. This is after yesterday's heavy rains as well. What does that mean for us? Well, Governor John Bel Edwards held a press conference yesterday. We will have some audio from that press conference coming up after news. Before we get you to news, though, do you have any aches and pains? Do you have anything that needs tweaking? Are you suffering from a nagging injury that's been lingering for far too long? Baton Rouge Physical Therapy can help. brptlake.com is the website. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy has been around for close to 60 years. They basically introduced physical therapy to Baton Rouge, and they're here for you. They're going to sit you down. They're going to talk about what it is that's ailing you, what your comfort level is with getting to the root of that problem, and how to attack the problem. You don't normally think about physical therapy when you're recovering from like a major injury, like a car accident or some kind of weekend warrior stuff where you fell down a hill, whatever. It's not just about that. It could be about that lower back pain from lifting wrong your whole life. But you got to start fixing it by starting with brptlake.com. brptlake.com. When you want to think about getting healthier or think about being your best you, think physical therapy. Yep. Good.
I got like some of the football ones. Must admit, like I know soccer and basketball like real good, but football I'm still learning. I'm getting it though.
and the Ramones.
That's what I thought.
Google Career Certificates provide online job training that's fast and flexible. Learn at your own pace and get job ready with less than 10 hours of study a week. Put your skills to work with a Google Career Certificate.
Scott Conant.
Conant. It is Conant. It is Conant. Yeah, no kidding.
You marked out 37, so you're saying 40 now?
Do what?
840?
Yeah. Hey, Tiffany's in. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Debbie, as well. Debbie says, hear the pushback because it's only for workers, not a mention of people on government aid. I assume that is in regards to the last segment? Yes. Elaborate on that. Eric says, no blame for the current president and vice president saying no before winning. Bro, can we at least bring that up at some point? Both of them were asked on the record while Donald Trump was still president if they would take a vaccine, and both of them said no, it's too rushed. And then something magical happened in November, and all of a sudden, all the time in the world was allotted for research because of one election day. Conversely, though, how many people that are rejecting the vaccine today would have been first in line to get it if Donald Trump had been reelected?
What are y'all going to be talking about, you and Scott?
He's got a new book out called Pasta Something Something. Let me see. It's called Peace, Love, and Pasta. Eric says, not me. Still took me getting it, LOL. Pete Carroll. Dan Marino.
I think Dan Marino's the most wasted quarterback.
I don't base anything off of Super Bowl rings.
Well, I mean, just playoff success in general.
Yeah, he's one of the best of all time for sure.
I think as far as team wasting a player, Barry Sanders comes to mind, even though he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I think Barry Sanders is a good point because, like, how do you quantify what he could have been if he were on some kind of all-star team?
He didn't even make a playoff appearance, did he?
I think so. He had to.
You have complete vision, sir.
Gotcha. What was I looking up here? Eric sent me what looks like a GIF of the storm pushing its way through.
What's this trajectory looking like?
It's going right over the top of us. Okay, Eric, what you sent me. Oh wait, there's a timestamp on the bottom. So that's later today. All right. You said it's dry air. I don't know where the dry air is here. Because it looks like after all the greens and whites push through, there's more whites behind it. That's from this morning. Ah, UTC. Okay. Oh, Van, I'm sorry to hear that, man. My brother-in-law passed away on September 4th from COVID. He did not want the vaccine. That is sad. I don't see yellow. Eric, I don't see yellow. Yeah. Okay. .739 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Our stupid headphones. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Rolling right along. Hey, coming up next hour, WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus, is going to join us. Are we worried about nothing with the rain that's coming through? Governor John Bel Edwards has held press conferences the last 2 days for what is now, I believe we're down a tropical depression, Nicholas. But there's a lot of rain to be dumped on us. So how should we be worried? It's tough living in Baton Rouge to not remember previous floods when looking at what's going on. The May of this year, that flood, this one doesn't really remind me of that because that was just a constant pound. It was more of a flash flood, right? It was a several hours long pounding of rain. This is strung out over a couple of days. And, yeah, I'm looking out the window right now. There's no rain physically coming down in downtown right now, but we did have some earlier, and we're going to have a lot more as the day wears on. I'm going to talk with Dr. Josh Eachus about what to expect. Should we be having flashbacks to 2016 or not? That's coming up at 8:15. 8:40, looking forward to this. Scott, apparently I was mispronouncing it, Conant, is going to join us. He's with the Food Network, got a new book out called Peace, Love, and Pasta. I mean, looking forward to that one as well. He's on the show Chopped. So I want to talk a little bit about Chopped, a little bit about what he's got going on, and a little bit about his book as well. That's all coming your way next hour. Right now, though, I was mentioning that Governor John Bell Edwards has had a press conference the last 2 days in a row. He had one Monday, he had one yesterday, talking about what was then Tropical Storm Nicholas, and its effects on Louisiana as we're recovering from Hurricane Ida. You can't separate those two things. The number of people in South Louisiana who just have a blue tarp instead of a roof right now, unfortunately, we're not looking at a whole lot of wind with this thing, although the occasional tornado is possible. But we're not looking at a whole lot of wind from Nicholas. We're just looking at a ton of rain. But not everybody has those blue tarps yet. Not everybody has their blue roofs up yet. A lot of people are still in the recovery phase from Ida. Heck, a lot of people don't even have their power back yet. So when looking at Tropical Storm Nicholas, which made landfall in Texas, and as it makes that eastern turn, going to cross right over us, what are we looking at from Nicholas? Who is going to experience the worst of Nicholas? The governor talks about who's going to get the worst.
One of the most distressing parts of this is the heaviest rain now is expected to fall in areas that were most devastated by Hurricane Ida, down in southeast Louisiana, as you can see from this graphic. That's particularly challenging because many individuals live in homes that are have not yet been repaired and not yet really even been temporarily repaired to the point where they can withstand rain and so forth. Many of these homes have not had power restored, and that restoration effort may actually be set back if the weather is too inclement to allow the crews to go out and continue their work. And then we also suspect that there will be some of these homes and businesses that have begun to receive power again after Hurricane Ida that may lose it because of Nicholas, because all of those electric companies have yet to restore the full redundancy and resiliency of their systems.
A lot of problems piling on top of each other with the storm. And as you heard him say, a lot of the areas that got hit hardest by Ida are going to get a lot of rain from this storm as well, which seems counterintuitive for a storm that landed in Texas. But as it makes that turn, how far north do you have to go to get clear of the areas that got hit by Ida? South Lafourche, they could be in the clear. Well, they're going to get some of it, but more along the lines of that Tangipahoa area. Probably going to get hit pretty hard again with just a pounding of rain, a constant pounding of rain for Livingston and Tangipahoa Parish. The part I keep coming back to, though, and I'm not like, this isn't me just being inside my own head, not being paranoid. It keeps being brought up. The governor's press conference on Monday, talking about Nicholas, he reminded us about 2016. He said, don't let the fact that Nicholas didn't make landfall as some category 4, like it was barely a cat 1, maximum sustained winds at 75 miles per hour, and it's dropped down from there. Don't let the fact that it's not this big, sexy storm lull you into a false sense of security. It doesn't take a big, sexy storm in order to do damage. On Monday, he said, we got hit by an unnamed storm in 2016 that caused all the flooding in Baton Rouge and throughout southeast Louisiana. He made direct mention of 2016 on Monday, and then yesterday at that press conference, you'll hear him one more time.
I just want to remind you that it wasn't even a named storm in 2016 that caused massive flooding across most of the state of Louisiana. It was Hurricane Ida, long after it ceased being a hurricane, that actually resulted in the death of more than 60 people in the Northeast and caused catastrophic flash flooding. So we've been given a forecast across central and south Louisiana that calls for an awful lot of rain. And that forecast is shifting over time, and we have to be very careful to make sure that we're up to date on what the most recent forecast is. But if you live in South Louisiana, you can expect a lot of rain. You should anticipate flash flooding and potentially river flooding.
That river flooding part is the part that worries me. The flash flooding part, not so much anymore. If we were going to get any flash flooding, I would have assumed it would have been yesterday when we had that horrible it was bad for a number of hours yesterday morning. So it's not the flash flooding that's bothering me at this point. It's the consistent rain throughout the day, throughout tomorrow, and potentially throughout Friday as well. That's the part that worries me when it comes to river flooding. I would look at this more like 2016 than like May. And even then, though, the amounts that are being reported, I don't know that we're going to see a repeat of 2016. Which is why we're going to talk with Dr. Josh Eachus coming up at 8:15. We'll have Josh is WBRZ's chief meteorologist. We will have him on at 8:15 to talk about this. I'm actually looking at the hour-by-hour forecast for today. We're going to get a nice little midday break before things pick back up in the afternoon. And that could be our saving grace throughout all this, is if it's not constant. If we have nice little breaks where some of the ground gets to dry up a little bit, some of the water that's backed up gets to drain off a little bit, that could be the saving grace throughout all this. But, man, I'm scrolling through the hour-by-hour forecast for the next 2 days, and that little break we get in the middle of the day today, I mean, if we could replicate that, sure, but it's not looking like that's how it's going to be. So we'll talk with Dr. Josh next hour. Hey, we got Your Money Now coming your way in 2 minutes. I do need to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. Complete Collision Center. Check them out online at CompleteCollision.com. CompleteCollision.com. If you've ever been in an accident before, you know you need to know where you're taking your car before you even get into an accident. Yeah, if you get into an accident and you don't know where you're going yet, and you call your insurance company first, they're going to have a suggestion for you. But I'm telling you right now, that suggestion is going to be someplace they have a deal hammered out with. So you're not the customer, the insurance company is. Go ahead, put this number in your phone, 658-1493. That's for Complete Collision Center. They've got 2 locations, Zachary on Plank Road or 9848 Perkins, that's just east of Bluebonnet here in Baton Rouge. They can do everything you need at either location. The Zachary footprint's a little bit bigger. But they can help you out at either location. They're certified by more than a dozen major car manufacturers, and they have the iCar Gold Class certification. They're here for you. They're here to serve you. They're not here to serve the insurance company. They're here to get you back on the road safely. Check them out online, CompleteCollision.com. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. All right, we got Your Money Now coming your way in 60 seconds. And we will catch up with Dr. Josh Eachus in our next segment. In our next hour. This is the time of the show where we normally have Congressman Garrett Graves on. He was working late into the night in Washington, D.C. He is, I believe he's en route right now. I believe he's in the air right now, flying back home from D.C. to Baton Rouge. We're going to hook up with him later on in the week because there's just so much to get caught up on. So we'll have a makeup version of, or a redo, a rain out, if you will, of DC Current coming your way later on this week. Right now, though, let's check Your Money Now here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. They're always stupid. That's why we do them, to make fun of them. Oh, snap. Let me look this guy up one more time. Van says if it was not for Donald Trump, we may not have the vaccine today. That is correct, Van. Operation Warp Speed was successful, whether people want to admit it or not. I'm all right. Drank a lot less coffee this morning because I've been getting nauseous every day after a certain point. My stomach just goes sour at about 6:45. It's just been going sour, and I think it's because I'm drinking too much coffee. Yeah. Sofa didn't do you right?
No, I didn't pull it out either. I just laid on it regular. His pillows are so hard. Like there's no give to them. So like my neck and.
Why are you bringing pillows? Just.
I wasn't planning on staying here.
No, I know. Well, I've got a pillow on my sofa like all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
We need to have like a little pillow. Just bring it up here.
Yeah.
You good? Yes, sir.
Holy cow, there's so many holidays, and the majority of them are stupid.
Yeah.
Should I mention it's, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'm just going to read it like I see it. Yom Kippur?
It's Yom Kippur, yes.
Yom Kippur, should I mention that for...
Yeah. Not that one. I want
I'll mention that one first. Talk about the stupid ones out.
Switch to a caffeinated tea. I don't like tea. No. You just switch to a sugar-free Red Bull. I like Red Bull a lot. Don't drink them nearly often enough. Started moving papers around. And now I don't know where all my shit's at. Did I throw away the outside in? Oh my goodness, no. Please no. Please no. Ah. All right.
We're doing it live?
Do what?
We're doing it live?
Doing what live?
Like, do you not have the paper?
I've got it. We're good.
You ever hear the saying, F it, we're doing it live?
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly. As opposed to doing it taped. We don't do anything taped. Excuse me. .755 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to get you caught up with CBS News here in about 5 minutes. 4.5 minutes. Coming up next hour, Dr. Josh Eachus is going to join us to talk about this storm. Is this overhyped, or are we seriously looking at the potential of some flooding in Baton Rouge? More than just the streets that always flood. That's coming up next hour. Also, Chef Scott Conant from the Food Network is going to join us. He's got a new book out called Peace, Love, and Pasta. Going to talk about that. Going to talk about Chopped. Maybe a few other things as well. But that's not till next hour. Right now, though, we step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish to check in on our surrounding parishes Baton Rouge Physical Therapy brings you the outside in. Tangipahoa Parish is where we're going to go, where schools have pushed back their post-Ida reopening. Reopening of schools due to, they're pushed back the reopening due to tropical storm, now tropical depression, Nicholas. Tentative start date for all students is now September 21st. They had announced Friday they would begin reopening schools today, with more schools opening each weekday up until September 20th. Now, just pushing it all back. September 21 is when they will be back in across the board in Tangipahoa Parish. In Livingston Parish, where the Hilltop Restaurant in Maurepas is our next stop. The Hilltop Restaurant in Maurepas will be closed for the immediate future due to damage incurred during Hurricane Ida. They posted on their Facebook page, quote, "We are sorry to say the restaurant will be closed for a few months due to the damages caused by Ida. We are very thankful our staff and families are safe, and material things will be fixed in time. I'll try to do better in keeping y'all updated of our progress through Facebook. Sending our love and prayers to all of you. The bottom line is Hilltop Restaurant going to be shut down for a few months." Up in Alexandria, 2 tigers have died within a week of each other at the Alexandria Zoological Park. Officials made that second announcement on their Facebook page yesterday afternoon. They announced their Malayan tiger, Jammu, was euthanized due to age-related issues. Jammu was reportedly the oldest known male Malayan tiger in the United States at 22 years and 4 months old. Came to the Alexandria Zoo back in 2009. Last Thursday, they announced the death of their white tiger, Hannah, who is 18 years old. One more stop, and that is everywhere. No, we're not stopping in one parish here. We got 38 parishes where state offices will be closed today due to Tropical Storm Nicholas. Those 38 parishes are as follows: Acadia, Allen, Ascension, Assumption, Avoyelles, Beauregard, Calcasieu, Cameron, East Baton Rouge, East Feliciana, Evangeline, Iberia, Iberville, Jeff Davis, Jefferson, Lafayette, Lafourche, Livingston, Orleans, Plaquemine, Point Capee, Rapides, St. Bernard, St. Charles, St. Helena, St. James, St. John the Baptist, St. Landry, St. Martin, St. Mary, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, Terrebonne, Vermilion, Vernon, Washington, West Baton Rouge, and West Feliciana. That's the outside in. Presented by Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Check them out online at brptlake.com. brptlake.com. Let's get you to CBS News. Hilltop thanks you for the free commercial. Well, it's not going to do them any good. They're going to be closed for a few months. I saw the story on WBRZ. I'm not that familiar with Maurepas, so I thought maybe it's popular down there. I don't know. Anybody been to Hilltop? I've never been there before. What is this? That's awesome. Who? New parishes. 10th anniversary of the gala. Reminded to pause for a moment. Yesterday. Yeah. That's fine. Galen says Hilltop has the best crab meat au gratin in the world. Ooh. Crab meat au gratin. There you see. Oh, what was the name of the place in what was the name of that place in Mandeville that used to have the crab meat au gratin? K&B podcast just started on Facebook. Time to make the jump. Tell the boys I said hello. I miss them. What's the name of that place? Yeah, I get it. No, I don't know. Pat Gallagher's is one. Oh, that was in Covington. It was real good. Sal and Judy's and Lacombe. I didn't know the name of it. I had crab meat au gratin. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Damn it. What was the name of that place? Fazio's. That's the one. iPhone 13 is out. That's just Apple unveils the new iPhone 13. That's I guess that means that what do I have, like an 8S or something? I guess my battery's going to start dying sooner. Cramp. Oh, I deleted my. Hang on. Jeff Grilly. There it is. Website. Menu. The Big Dill. Josh, he'll be calling us. I can get it. .807 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Got a busy hour lined up this hour, and you just heard the forecast from Marissa Nuzzo. We are going to elaborate on that a lot more in our next segment. WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus, is going to join us to talk about, well, quite honestly, should we be worried? This storm is rolling through. I shouldn't say rolling through. Trudging through, if that. How much rain is Baton Rouge going to get? How much should we expect? Is the governor keeps bringing up 2016 in his press conferences. Are we looking at that scenario again? We'll talk with Dr. Josh Eachus in our next segment. Also, this hour, Scott Conant from the Food Network is going to hop on board at 8:40. Talk a little bit about Chopped. You ever watch Chopped? Love Chopped. Jay was on Chopped. Jay Ducote was on Chopped. Got Chopped. I wonder if Scott was the judge for that. I have to find out. Anyway, Scott's got a new book out called Peace, Love, and Pasta. Going to talk a little bit about that as well. Right now, though, is the time of the show where Jake takes us back in time with this day in history. What do you got?
All right, starting things off, we're going to take it back to 1830. It's kind of an obscure one. First passenger to be killed by a railway train. That is William Huskisson in England.
William Huskisson was killed by a railway train in 1830.
First one in history.
All right, good on him.
Going all the way to 1969, Cards' Steve Carlton sets the record by striking out 19 New York Mets in a game.
Wait, what?
He struck out 19.
No. Who did he play for? You said Cards?
He said Cards, like the Cardinals.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I always okay. Never associate Steve Carlton with the St. Louis Cardinals. 1969, though.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. Mets won it all that year.
1972, a magnitude 4.5 earthquake shakes northern Illinois. 1978, Dodgers become first major league team to draw 3 million fans.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Some growth right there.
They weren't there for the whole game, though. They're Dodger fans.
Not.
They show up in the third. They leave in the seventh. That's what they do.
Casuals. Same day, same year, Muhammad Ali beats Leon Spinks in 15 rounds for heavyweight boxing title.
Good for him.
Very good for him. The legend, the GOAT. 1980, Paul McCartney releases single Temporary Secretary.
What? I've never even heard of that one.
Me neither, but
okay.
It's on this day in history. 1990, Florida lottery goes over $100 million. That's in 1990, too.
Was that the first time a lottery went over $100 million?
I think so.
All right.
I couldn't tell you. 1995, the movie Seven premiered in New York. Still haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. I heard it's a really good movie.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, unbelievable. Gwyneth Paltrow. Was it Gwyneth Paltrow? Who was the wife? Anyway, yeah, fantastic movie. Go see it. In fact, look out the window right now. That's the weather you get through the whole movie. It's crazy. It about the serial killer, 7 Deadly Sins. Amazing film. What's in the box?
That's what I thought it was from. 1997, this will be the last event we mentioned. Google.com is registered as a domain name.
Wow.
1997 on this day.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. That'll be the last of the events. We have a lot of birthdays to get through. First up, we have Tom Hardy turning 44. We have Prince Harry turning 37.
Okay.
Younger fans out there know Jenna Marbles. She turns 35.
Who?
Jenna Marbles. She's YouTube.
Okay.
like big social media presence. Tommy Lee Jones turned 75 today.
All right.
John Bradley West from, well, if you know him from Sam as in Game of Thrones, excuse me, he turns
Okay.
33. Some basketball players, we've got Dennis Schroeder turning 28. Josh Richardson also turning 28. Jaren Jackson Jr. 22. And Mavs legend Jason Terry turning 44.
Nice.
Some football stuff, we got Dan Marino turning 60. And Pete Carroll turning 70.
Good old Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
He's so much more likable as a Seahawks coach than he ever was as the USC coach. Oh, hey, who's USC going to hire? I haven't even looked. Did they hire somebody?
I don't know. I haven't checked yet.
All right.
That'll conclude the birthdays. Now on to deaths. Obviously, Brian mentioned it earlier in the show. We didn't get around to it yesterday because it wasn't announced yet. But Norm Macdonald unfortunately passed away yesterday. I thought I should acknowledge that.
Of course.
Harry Dean Stanton died on this day in 2017.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Richard Wright, a guy from Pink Floyd, died on this day in 2008. And Johnny Ramone, obviously from the Ramones, died on this day in 2004.
Okay.
That'll conclude the deaths. Now we have a lot of holidays to get through. First, we'll start with the serious one, Yom Kippur. Shout out to any of the Jewish fans listening in, either on YouTube or on air. But that will be that. Let's go with the rest of the holidays. International Day of Democracy. What?
No, go ahead. Continue. We need to move on.
Did I mess up?
No, it's okay. Move on.
International Day of Democracy. International Dot Day. Make a Hat Day.
All right.
National Cheese Toast Day. Can't say I've had cheese toast before unless it's
Cheese toast. That's a grilled cheese
grilled
sandwich.
cheese, yeah, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, cheese toast specifically. National Double Cheeseburger Day. You might get yourself a double Diablo today. You think about it?
Well, I'm gonna hold off till Friday when Mooyah comes in for Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Pretty sure there's going to be a double Diablo in my future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully sometime, in the next coming years, we'll have September 15th be a Friday. Then you can have yourself a double Diablo on National Double Cheeseburger Day.
Gotta love it.
National Linguini Day. National Online Learning Day. That's been very prevalent over the last
Okay.
year
Well,
and a half.
appropriate since Google was found or registered today.
Yeah, the domain name.
Yeah.
And then the last one, National School Backpack Awareness Day.
Excellent.
Quite. That'll conclude this day in history.
All right, we're due up for a break. We'll check traffic when we come back. Are we making too much out of the storm, or should we really be worried? Dr. Josh Eachus joins us next.
Hey Josh, we'll be live momentarily.
All right, that was funny.
What, did I mess up?
Yom Kippur is the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. I mean, it's basically like we have Easter Sunday. It's bigger than that. So it sounded funny the way you're like, it's the holiest day on the calendar. And you're like, shout out to the Jews. It hit my ears funny. That's all. Someone's always offended by everything. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
He's on the line, obviously.
Yeah.
Ready to go. No meetings set up yet.
Hmm?
No live dates.
Okay.
Covered a lot.
I think I'm done. Yeah. Because the only one I haven't done is Ghost Slim, and they're not every day. So.
You've done VRPT, you've done mattress, you've done collision, you've done Mooyah, you've done defense.
Yeah.
Wow. You've knocked out everything in the first 2 hours.
Happens when I try to do them when they're scheduled. send that. What do we got? 818 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So, what's left of, or what's now Tropical Depression Nicholas making its way across Louisiana? How concerned should we be? Joining us now is WBRC's Chief Meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus. Josh, welcome aboard, sir. How are you?
Hey, doing okay, Brian. How are you today?
I am doing very well. So, I needed to apologize to your coworker, Taylor. She was the one shooting the shot on Goodwood yesterday, like literally in front of my house. I pulled up, I was like waving to say hello, and I'm like, I don't recognize the person. She said, so rolled down the window. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And just didn't mean to ambush a reporter on the scene. I think I caught her by surprise a little bit.
Sorry, she's new to us, and she doesn't realize how friendly everybody in Louisiana is, but she'll come to realize that, I think.
Well, and she was at the exact right spot, too, because that spot on Goodwood in Sherwood, it's right before Flannery, basically, and it's always underwater. I mean, you get a good drizzle, and there's like a 3 or 4 house stretch where they need to just have that high water sign out all the time. So
yeah, we do have those usual suspect spots here, and I guess if that leads us into our conversation, that's really been all that we've seen is the usual suspect spots so far. We've been really lucky to this point.
Okay, so to this point, are we through the worst of it?
I do believe that batch overnight was the last, hold your breath, gulp deeply, and see what happens kind of batch of rain. We'll probably still have some downpours, and they're going to be a little more nuanced, kind of the way Monday evening was. There was only one shower out there. It was really heavy in southwestern EBR, and it dropped a quick 4 or 5 inches, and we had, some street flooding and kind of getting into people's yards and stuff. Not homes or anything, but flooding a little more than what we would say is typical. It could be an isolated instance of that Thursday and Friday, but the widespread flood threat is wrapping up about now.
Okay. So flood threat from the current rain, but what about rivers? Should we be concerned about rivers?
I certainly was coming into this, but factoring in the rainfall we received from last night, we have no major flood crest expected. The A-meet's going to be close to flood stage, kind of right up at it. The Tickfall is going to get there. The Tangipahoe is going to go right above flood stage, and that's all normal flooding. I'm checking those smaller creek gauges, the ones that we all got a little more hyper aware of and paranoid about after May 17th. Those are running about 5 to 8 feet below their May 17th peaks, and they respond much more rapidly. So they crest as the rain is occurring to within an hour after it stops. So they're going to start falling already this morning once the rain is taking a little pause here.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. Now, the forecast over the next couple of days, are we showing more rain? Or because, depending on the app, you pull it up, and whichever app you've got, and a lot of them are saying we're looking at 80% chance basically every day for the rest of this week. Is it going to dry out, or are we going to get more, I don't know, cloud cover? Where are we at for the rest of the week?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to stay wet and unsettled. So, I mean, as I'm sure everyone's aware, Nicholas is weakening, but it is going to remain a low-pressure system, and it's going to remain over Louisiana. So naturally there's a trigger there to get some more showers and storms going, just in a little less organization than what we've seen over the last 2 days. And the tropical moisture isn't going anywhere. We don't have a front, no areas of high pressure or anything that would normally come through to flush this out. So it actually looks like kind of an ugly, unsettled pattern right on through Sunday. I think there'll be some peaks of sunshine, especially early. We'll get back to more of a routine of needing some daytime warming to get showers and storms going. But it's going to be a little bit more like a June or a July day than a September day, which is a month that is typically quite a bit drier without any tropical involvement. So it's going to stay fairly unsettled for the next few days. But the key is that we should have much, much more dry time in between showers and thunderstorms, which is key in allowing runoff to take its course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good deal. Now, a couple more things to touch on before we get you out of here, and I appreciate you hopping on this morning. The first of which is recovery from Hurricane Ida. rain that comes through or any kind of tropical system that comes through would slow down power restoration for those that are still without it, for those that are working on the linemen out there and whatnot. But that is often associated more with wind and not rain. So are we looking at any wind of any kind of significance here?
No, we were pretty lucky with Nicholas. Its harm to us in that it was so slow moving and causing heavy rain was also good for us in that the wind field essentially diminished before reaching our area. And it's still positioned vaguely over southwestern Louisiana. Its center is really poorly defined now, and it's kind of tough to pick out on a map. But its center never really made it to us, and anymore our maximum winds are at 20 or 25 miles per hour, which is a good breeze, but they seem to be more and more seldom. So not a wind concern. Hopefully some of the power crews can work through these intermittent showers that we still will be dealing with over the next couple of days.
And we're a little 3 weeks removed from Ida?
That's right. Yeah, hard to believe. I mean, how quickly things go by. But yeah, it's sad close to the coast that we are just getting started with the recovery.
Well, yeah, and while they're getting started with the recovery, it's important to note we're 3 weeks removed from Ida, and we went JKLM, and we're already to Nicholas.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, hurricane season is not underachieving. It's kind of living up to the expectation once again of being very active. I remind people, and this is not to breed any, skepticism of any kind. We certainly are in a very active tropical period right now, but in the satellite era, that's gotten more advanced as we've gotten into the 80s and the 90s. We are detecting far more what I would call fish storms that we probably wouldn't otherwise. We've had a handful of storms that occurred during Ida that were out in the middle of the Atlantic, northeast of Bermuda, and did not bother anything. So we've been fairly lucky so far in the U.S. Louisiana would beg to differ, but there are only two have made landfall. 2 hurricanes, and that's Nicholas and Ida. We've had them both affect here, but for a year where we're already getting into we're at the end name now. We've only had two strike as compared to last year where we're getting to the Greek alphabet by this time. So this is more of a quote unquote normal active season where, last year was of course hyperactive.
Right. Yeah. This is we're still above average, but the season kind of slow played us a little bit, and now it seems like we're catching up on the alphabet.
Yeah, we sure are, and it followed more of the normal rhythm too. You'll recall last year we hit a stretch in July where there was at least a named system in the basin straight through to like October, and there was just no break. We actually, after Ida, there was a decent little lull out in the basin with not much going on, and for a lot of July and August, not much was going on. So it's not shocking to start stacking the numbers up in September, historically the peak of activity. And we do have several more waves out there that all look like they have the potential to become named, but none of them look overly threatening to the states. They all have that little curl motion going out into the North Atlantic, which is what we like to see.
Okay, both of the ones that are on the map do? Because the National Hurricane Center has got an orange X and a red X. So
yes, we have one that's going to be off the coast of the U.S. Looks like it's going to move due north. That one could maybe be a surf threat, maybe a little bit of rain for the Carolinas, but likely stays out to sea. And there are 2 coming off the African coast. One of them is likely to become a hurricane, but it starts to make kind of a northwest and then a north bend toward the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico area. So that one does not appear to be a threat to end up in the Gulf. And the one behind that, just it's kind of too young in its stage to predict what it's going to do. But there aren't any scary model land hurricanes out there 2 weeks from now in our area, at least for now. So that's good news.
I'll take it then. Hey, is it too soon to look at game day?
No, I don't think it is. I've actually, low key as a big fan and a tailgater, been monitoring that behind the scenes of the flood threat this week, and I've been texting with my tailgate group about when was the last time we tailgated and went to a game in the rain, because I think that's a plausible scenario this weekend. Not really an all-day washout, but I don't think we're going to go through campus entirely dry on Saturday just due to the nature of these scattered showers kind of hanging out in the area. So not calling a washout yet, but I would say to take the poncho because we may need it for the first time in a while at an LSU game.
Yeah, not like last Saturday. Last Saturday was just gorgeous across the board. I mean, temperature was just right. Humidity was low. Couldn't have written a better script for last Saturday. Well, we appreciate the update. I know I'm a lot more at ease because you get a number of days in a row where you see like 80% chance of rain all in a row, and you start getting those flashbacks of 2016. And it just that I don't know when do we get through that, man? I need a weather psychologist is what I need.
I know it's we're scarred from that, and every time it rains heavy, we all get a little paranoid now looking outside. I think if we learn anything over the last couple of days, it's the reminder that our area, our soil, our geography here in Louisiana, we can handle a lot of water as long as we space it out over a day or 2 days like we have. We've picked up about 8 inches of rain in 2 days. That's a lot. You do that in the Northeast, and you've got major flooding because of the terrain. We did 8 inches in 2 days, no problem. The problem is 8 inches in 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. You take 8 inches over 2 days. The biggest problem is next time you have to cut your grass. So.
Yep, exactly.
He is WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus. We always appreciate you letting us lean on you, man.
Talk to you soon, Brian.
Yes, sir. 828 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got CBS News coming up in about 3 minutes. Hey, I want to direct you back to yesterday's show for just a minute. We had Nathan Custer from FEMA on, and we're talking about the generator reimbursements and the number of folks having problems getting their money and whatnot. One of the things that came up from that discussion was the appeals process. And I actually have to credit FEMA here. I can't believe this. Shout out to FEMA. They put out a press release yesterday, I guess a couple hours after hopping on the show. Put out a press release yesterday. I'm not saying it was connected to this show. It was probably coming anyway. I just asked the right question at the right time. But here's the headline. Helpful info when appealing a decision from FEMA. There's now, the process is out there now. So, if you are still recovering from Hurricane Ida, you lost power for any extended period of time, you went out and got a generator, or you had a tree blocking entrance to your home, and that's an important distinction right there, a tree that was blocking entrance to your home, not just cosmetically, not just, I got to get this off my yard, but it was blocking entrance to your home, and you went out and bought a chainsaw, you can be reimbursed for those things. Now, if you don't like the answer you got from FEMA, if you feel like you've got a better case than that, FEMA wants to let you know you do have recourse here. You applied to FEMA for disaster assistance after Hurricane Ida hit you, and you received a letter. You're not sure what it says, but you think it's not good. Often these letters are sent when your application is missing information. Maybe you didn't show proof you are who you say you are, proof you own your home, proof you lived in your home for a major part of the year before Ida. Here are the tips for writing a letter to appeal your FEMA decision. First of all, you've got 60 days to do it. Secondly, carefully read FEMA's letter before writing your appeal. You'll need to understand why FEMA said the application was ineligible, or that assistance to you is denied, or that FEMA is holding off on making a decision. Often the reason is as simple as missing documents or information. Read FEMA's letter thoroughly from beginning to end to help you understand what the agency is asking you to do. And, here's a big one, include evidence to support your appeal request. A copy of the FEMA letter saying you're denied assistance or that the agency didn't reach a decision, and put your insurance letters in there as well. The more information you can provide, the better. That's the long and the short of it from FEMA. Proof of occupancy, proof of ownership, all these things. So FEMA walking you through the appeal process. Here comes CBS News. Oh, I've got to get this guy on. What happens when a newspaper's opinion page ignores national politics? This is a good topic. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Who put this out? What is it? Wait, baby.
Real quick, I got the actual weather.
Uh-huh.
Do you want me to keep using what I've been using or use the actual weather?
What do you mean?
Like, I had to find like a raw thing of weather. We had to make cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
But I checked again and they uploaded.
Go with that. Go whatever's most recent.
Right now, pictures frozen on the screen. Do you want me to close up?
Ask Chuck what to do. Is Chuck still over there?
I know what I could.
Oh, okay. Then go ahead. Will it end the stream?
No.
Okay, then do it.
Just remove picture, add the input, put the camera back on, and then refresh.
Okay, go for it. Oh, good deal. Yeah. Oh. Good workout in, because I know I'm going to be sore whether I do or I don't. Ivermectin? It's been all over the place. Everybody who doesn't want the vaccine's been taking it. Well, not everybody, but it amazes me. Like, you can have 1,000 doctors tell you one thing, but one doctor says something else. And it's like, I'm going to follow the one guy.
Would you say that's like confirmation bias?
Uh,
I mean, everyone's different. Every case is different, but yeah, I'm not gonna.
All right, so you haven't done one of these yet. What's going to happen is there's a scheduler or somebody's going to call, and they'll connect you with Scott. Once they connect you with Scott, you drop them on hold, and I go right to him. Okay?
I think that actually a similar thing happened like one of the first times I got a call.
Okay. Well, then maybe you have done it.
The publicist or their agent called me.
Yeah, this is through a booking agency, so it,
Yeah, it's happened before. It won't be actually Scott, but it'll be. They're calling us.
yeah. And I've got a meeting in sales like immediately after the show, so I'm just gonna leave all my shit everywhere. Yeah. 7-minute window. Okay. Excuse me. 838, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Thanks again to Dr. Josh Eachus for hopping on board in the last segment. Boy, just so many press releases about the tropical storm, now tropical depression, or remnants of tropical depression, Nicholas, as it makes its way through. First of all city parish buildings closed today. It's sunny. It's sunny. I just looked out the window. It's sunny outside. The mobile registration intake center that was supposed to be set up over at the Goodwood Library today, that opening's been pushed back to tomorrow. If you are still recovering from Hurricane Ida, which a lot of folks are, if you've got questions for FEMA, if you've got issues, I was telling you about the appeals process with FEMA in the last segment. If you've got issues that you feel you need to discuss with somebody face-to-face, you got questions you need answered, you don't want to go back and forth with emails or actual mail, if anyone still does that, that mobile registration intake center is going to be open as of tomorrow instead of today, as it were. All right. You know him from Chopped and Chopped Sweets. He's also the author of Peace, Love, and Pasta. Scott Conant joins us now from the Food Network. Scott, welcome aboard, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. We love checking in with the folks from the Food Network. Our afternoon drive guy, Jay Ducote, was finished second in Food Network star, and I believe he got chopped as well. I don't know if you're the guy that did it, but
I hope not.
Yeah, right? No, I wouldn't. Would have started the interview off with a lot more ribbing if that were the case. Hey, let's talk about Chopped. Before we talk about Peace, Love, and Pasta, let's talk about Chopped a little bit. Chopped is so compelling. Like, you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. Over food. Like, how did this get to be the phenomenon that it is?
Oh, my God, I have no idea. We talk about it all the time. 13 years ago, we did this show. And we had no idea if it was going to be successful. We all sat at this table, and Ted was obviously hosting. And, what it's transformed into, what it's morphed into, what it's evolved, I would say, into, is crazy. It's, like I said, 13 years. That really rarely happens in television. So, we all feel blessed.
Yes, and it is a quality show. Every time it's enjoyable to watch, but at the same time, though, there's this level of stress over cooking, and cooking should be one of the most pleasurable experiences out there, which kind of brings us around to Peace, Love, and Pasta. I mean, this is your latest cookbook. Let's talk about it a little bit. What went into this one?
Well, this is the food that I cook at home for my family. And it started as, I've been cooking for 35 years now. And I take a lot of the dishes that I've cooked and kind of simplified them and made them for the home. So there's things that, during my travels, I worked in New Orleans and in Germany and in New York City for years. And my wife is Turkish, so there's a Turkish section also. So I've just kind of taken some of these recipes and simplified them, a few tweaks here and there to keep them interesting. But this is what I cook for the family, yeah.
Wait, where were you at New Orleans?
I was at a restaurant years ago that I opened. It was my first sous chef job in 1990, a restaurant called Spunto, which Emerald eventually bought it, and it's now Nola.
Oh, wow. Yeah, love Nola. It's in the quarter.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Isn't it a beautiful restaurant? I actually painted, we were running late in construction, and I painted that when you walk in, there's this brick-covered elevator, and I had, painted those bricks because we were just we were so far behind in construction.
Very cool. So you've clearly worked all over the place. How do attitudes about food differ where you're at?
It depends. Sometimes people are really picky. I have a daughter who's very picky, so I need to adjust to some of those things as well. But I've had restaurants from Los Angeles to Toronto and New York City and Las Vegas, yada yada yada. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona currently, and I don't think we're as far apart on the food thing as what people would say, particularly when it comes to Los Angeles. People are always saying that people in LA want to change everything, and I didn't find that to be the case.
So it may not vary as much from place to place, but what about from time to time? I feel like our level of sophistication has evolved over the years. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the Food Network has helped, kind of bring a lot of that to the forefront to make it, that food culture that we're so into now. I think the Food Network was a big part of that food culture. And I think, like anything, we evolve as people. The things that are important to us early, we can't necessarily eat like that anymore. I know I can't. The older I get, so I have to rein it in. And I think that an appreciation for food happens, and nostalgia happens as you get older also.
The nostalgia part, yeah, that is a big part of it as well, especially when you talk about those dishes that, yeah, we're really want to stay healthy. They're not always the best for us. I want to ask you about the celebrity chef concept as well. Chefs as celebrities have really grown in recent years as well. Clearly, the Food Network has been a big part of this. Do you see this continuing as a trend?
Well, I think at a certain point things are no longer a trend, and it's just kind of what it is. Chefs are popular, and I don't know a single chef that's not appreciative of that. So, there just seems to be interest in food, and I don't see that going away anytime soon.
So, Peace, Love, and Pasta is out now. I assume it's available just about everywhere, huh?
I certainly hope so. Yeah.
What's next for you, man?
Right now, I'm really loving this book and where we are with it. It seems to be selling, a lot of really positive feedback on it. And I have a few restaurants that we're working on and always looking to grow. So that's it. At the moment, we got Peace, Love, and Pasta.
I appreciate it greatly. And yeah, these are the recipes you cook at home. So when you want an inside look at what Scott Conant is doing in his own house, you can do it in your own house as well. It's called Peace, Love, and Pasta. It's available now. Scott, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Coming up on 847 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Going to get you to your money now here in just a little bit. The chopped concept, and I asked him about this, it baffles me because I like to cook to relax. Like it's cathartic, to say the least. It's that perfect mix of art and science. You've got your recipe you need to follow, but you put your own little twist on it. But no matter what happens, you want to do it to enjoy it. Chopped is under the gun, man. Here's these 4 random ingredients. Or however many random, I probably get the number of ingredients wrong. But here's your random ingredients. Now you have to make something with this, and you're on the clock. And by the way, someone like Scott is going to be a complete D to you when you're done. Like, the concept of high pressure, high intensity, high criticism for something that should be the most relaxing thing out there. The most enjoyable, like, sit back, relax, enjoy. It's food. Celebrate it. But Scott's not the only one. I mean, you get the Gordon Ramsays of the world. Like, he's not the only one. That level of appeal for that kind of show, I don't get the psychology behind it. As a matter of, in our own lives, we would like to watch somebody else under the gun. Like in your normal day-to-day life, you're under the gun so much. You've got hard deadlines. You've got bosses you've got to please. You got Bill Lumberg over your shoulder asking you to come in on Saturday, and yeah, I'm gonna need you to come in on Sunday too. Like, you've got that going on in your. Is it just escapism to watch someone else be under that same pressure for something that otherwise you can just go in your own kitchen, fire up the oven, fire up the stovetop, and just get to work. Just enjoy it. Peace, Love, and Pasta is available right now, and we appreciate Scott's time. The description, which I'm supposed to read, the description of the book, Peace, Love, and Pasta, Simple and Elegant Recipes from a Chef's Home Kitchen. Scott's most personal and accessible cookbook to date delves into the evolution of how his cooking has changed throughout his career and how he's established the strongest connection he's ever had to his food as a result of his deep relationship with his family. Previously living a life continuously on the road like so many of us, during the pandemic, Scott embraced the unprecedented opportunity to be at home and cook with and for his family every day? Well, that's another good question to ask, right? Did the pandemic change the way you do things in the house? Do you cook differently now because of stay-at-home orders? Do you cook differently now because of potential comorbidities, outlying health conditions, health concerns? Pretty cool. He was in the restaurant that was NOLA before it was NOLA. Kind of like that. All right, we're not done yet. We get Your Money Now coming your way in just a minute. We're not done with the show by any stretch. We got one more segment to go. We got 3 or 4 things to talk about in the next segment. One of which is something we talked about a little bit earlier on, and that is the passing of Norm Macdonald. 61 years old, passed away yesterday, died of cancer. He's been battling cancer for 9 years, and none of us knew about it. How weird is that in today's world? Not the cancer part. None of us knew about it. You don't often see that from celebrities.
Kind of reminds me of Chadwick Boseman.
Very, very much so. We'll dive into that a little bit. Plus, we got a lot more to come after we check Your Money Now, which is coming your way right now. Oh, also, we'll have one more check of traffic, and the sun is shining after all the warnings about this storm. Here comes Your Money Now. Like literally half of the press releases for today were all about how much it's going to rain.
I feel catfished.
Yeah. If you want for the write up on that one. If you want to include any of that description of the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get to that.
And if you could find an wait, do I have headshots for him? I might have a headshot for him. Oh, we'll see. Muso! Dude, I'm more and more looking forward to Steven Weber. He used to be on a show called Wings. Like way back in the day. Here, this should be good to go. Forward. You just save it out of this email. Jake.
Make sure the file is appropriate size, because if not, I can't.
I have no idea. I'm just forwarding you the picture that was in the email for me. All right, that's done. What?
I was doing work on the midday newscast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like as soon as the show's over with, you could push pause on whatever's being posted on demand, because that news that airs at 9:30 airs at 9:30, whether you like it or not. So it's your hardest deadline as soon as the show's over with, is grabbing the news from LRN.
Phone password you just used to the state
I mean,
This is the dumbest tropical storm I've ever seen. Do what? Yeah.
I know you said you're in a few leagues, but like, how into fantasy football are you?
Very, very much.
Did you pick on the waiver wire? Did you do any of that yet?
None yet.
My fourth choice running back was Ronald Jones. And again, he's my fourth choice, but I'm negative 0.6 points. I picked up Eli Mitchell from the 49ers, who had like a breakout game since
Mostert's out.
Mostert's out for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
Yeah, I was surprised. The guy who was below me on the above me on the priority picked up Tyson Williams, the Ravens running back.
Yeah, I would stay away from that dumpster fire, though. Ravens running back is Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
That's
You have Lamar Jackson. You have that guy.
yeah.
You now have Latavius Murray.
Narity prisons. Yeah.
More.
Yeah. You might know 3 weeks from now who's going to be the dominant running back there, but you don't know yet. So everything is just.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, it's my fourth running back. I have Derrick Henry, James Robinson, Myles Gaskin, and then my fourth choice. So it could be a boomer bust. He has a higher ceiling than Ronald Jones, that's for sure. So I see it as an absolute win. Personally. You're going to be bumping me in about 30 seconds.
How many times did you hear that lyric before questioning whether or not you heard it right? Am I on? 856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. How many times did you hear that lyric before you were like, did I hear that right? You never know what you'll catch. Yeah, you did hear that right. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we hand it off to the Fox News Rundown. Then, of course, Brian Kilmeade after that. After Kilmeade, you got Dave Ramsey, and Jay Ducote will drive you home from 1 to 4. Got a text from Jay during the break. He says, no, Scott is not the one who chopped him. Good. Good to know. Good to know. Then I'm glad we were nice to him, because otherwise, you know, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Dadgummit.
He might have got chopped.
Bobby Flay learned his lesson the hard way. Punk. That was a fun night. For those that don't know, our afternoon drive host, Jay Ducote, was on Beat Bobby Flay and did indeed beat Bobby Flay. Your boy challenged him to boiled crawfish. You don't do that if you're not from here. Bobby does Southwest stuff.
If anything, we were the home team in that instance.
Exactly. All right, before we get out of here, as we were going into the break, I was mentioning about comedian Norm Macdonald, which I've been a huge Norm Macdonald fan throughout the years. He's been just beyond brilliant. But more to the point, how often do you see somebody, a celebrity, who keeps all their health stuff quiet? Jake, you mentioned Chadwick Boseman going into the break.
Yeah.
Great example.
It's the only other instance I've seen that, though.
Yeah.
It's just those two.
But
At least I could think of.
Normally, you'll learn about something ahead of time. There'll be headlines about it. Somebody from, Variety or one of the million different voyeur websites, paparazzi websites, will fall in and post something. They'll get a hold of something. They'll follow someone to a doctor's appointment, that sort of thing. And it'll start with speculation with, we followed so-and-so to this medical plaza. What could be wrong? And eventually something gets confirmed. Norm Macdonald had been battling cancer for 9 years. He, most of the write-ups about him are about his style as a comedian, about how he never really achieved a whole lot of fame after SNL, although he's got more than a handful of really great movies. And his appearances on Conan are legendary and always will be. But 9 years, that just, to keep something that close to the vest for that long, it feels rare in this day and age. Anyway, he will be missed. He will be sorely, sorely missed. To see the tributes coming in from other very well-respected actors and comedians. All right, Fox News Rundown's next. I needed like 60 more seconds on that. Hey, guys, I got to run. I got a meeting upstairs, so I will see y'all tomorrow.